All right, in this video, I'm going to show you how to track different types of forms so you can track conversions in Google Analytics. So for this first form, this is going to be a pop-up form because it's not going to go to any success page. So I'll put in my test data really quick. Okay, so this is my test data. Then I'm going to click send, and you can see how this doesn't redirect to a different page. So right here is the most important piece of change on the actual page that you're going to want to pay attention to. So when you see this on the form, you want to right click and click inspect. And when you're inspecting here, you'll see what's highlighted, which you just right clicked it and inspected. And the reason you want to get this, because you want to get the unique value or CSS selector on the HTML page that pops up only when it's a successful message. So typically what I do is I copy the selector, because I've found that this is much easier than trying to do it in any other type of method. Okay, once you have the CSS selector, you're going to want to go to your tag manager. So within Google Tag Manager here, you have tags, triggers, and variables. And in this case, we're going to want to create a trigger. And you can see that I already created a trigger for a form submission. So a successful form submission here. So essentially I have, if we go into edit here, I have the CSS selector selection method rather than the ID, because the ID would essentially be if within the HTML it has the ID in there, then it would be something you can use instead. But I like selector because it's much more flexible. So we have selector. We have this element visibility tag that you can select as a template tag when creating all of your triggers. So you can see all the different ones. And you want to select, once you paste in your actual selector, you want to pick once per page because it's for a contact. You don't want people to, multiple leads to come through your contact form. I set this to 1% minimum because you don't need to put it at 90 or 100 because you just need it to pop up, and you don't want to essentially make the rate of it tracking your conversions any lower. And also very important, you want to make sure that you observe DOM changes here, because if you don't observe DOM changes, whatever the page actually refreshes, the conversion won't fire here. So that's very, very important. Okay, now that you have the structure of the trigger, you want to go over to the tags here. And here, when you're essentially creating a new tag, you can do it through, if you're doing this for Google Ads or Google Analytics, this will obviously change what you choose. But if you click here, I'll just do another one. So I would say GA4 contact submission. I'll just put 2 because this is a demo. And you're going to want to pick GA4 event. And you just want to choose configuration tag would be none. You're going to manually set. And then you want to get your measurement ID, which you can essentially grab if you go to your GA4 account and go to the admin area, setup assistant, tag installation. So you're going to want to go to data streams, click on your actual data streams, and grab your measurement ID. Then paste that in there. And the event name can be whatever you want it to be. Test form, in my case. You want to make sure this is going to be the exact name that's going to pull up in analytics as well. Next, you're going to want to go to the trigger that you just created. And this is going to be the element visibility trigger here. And you're going to want to click save. Next, you're going to want to go to preview here so you can actually see your tags and make sure that it's firing correctly. So take that, put your website URL in. Awesome. Then you're going to want to scroll down to your form and do what we did again here. Click submit. And now we see this form thing popped up again. So we're going to want to actually check to see if our tag's fired here. So you can see here that our Google Ads conversion tag fired. And we can see this fired, and that's fine because these are using the same element visibility triggers. But since these are brand new in GA4, we have to give it like 28 to 48 hours to actually fire properly. But if you look into this actual setup here, it's using the same exact content visibility trigger. So this should fire properly for you when tracking any forms, whether it's for analytics, Google Ads, or whatnot for this actual specific form. Okay, another common method to track forms, if this is sent to a success page or a thank you page, so say after this is submitted, the user sent to like some type of thank you page, you could essentially grab that URL, the ending part, and create a new trigger just for specifically thank you page success URLs. So you just go up here, you can just put like thank you submit, and you're going to want to do page view, some page views. You can do page URL contains thank you, and just click save. Then when you have this trigger here, you can create a new tag and just say contact form submit 3 in my case, and we can just do a GA4 event manually, grab the ID again, but the ID, the event is like, can be called thank you page, and then we can use the trigger of thank you page submit and click save. And obviously we can go through the same preview process, but this is much easier since you'll actually see the URL and you'll see whether or not it fires in this area, whereas the element visibility is much more technically complicated. So this is a much smoother, quicker way to do it through the updated GA4 setup.